What you're looking at is the exact VSL I wrote for Tom Noske that did 300K in 10 days and more than $1 million in 1 year. And today I'm revealing the entire formula, the psychology triggers, and the strategies behind every section. And I'm also giving you my audience research doc, and I've also templatized the VSL script. This isn't something you can just, copy and paste because it's a custom-made VSL, so it's not going to work. It's for you to take certain sections and sentences and use them as inspiration for your own offers and make some cash. Tom has an amazing brand and product. This product is called Time to Build. It's a live course where he teaches people how to build and monetize personal brands. And, he gives you all the tools and the right systems for you to succeed. To build a VSL that converts, there are a couple of important steps you want to take before you start writing. First, you want to do some research, even if you think you know everything about your audience. Then you want to define your unique mechanism, the sales argument, and then build the structure of your VSL and how it's going to flow. So let me show you my reasoning behind this. For research, I just use this doc. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enter the conversation that the market is having in their own head and extract words, sentences, patterns, images. So that way, when we start writing, you're on the same wavelength as them. This doc and all the other assets are available in the description, by the way. Next, you want to define your unique mechanism. This is the bridge that helps people go from A to B. You find it by defining the mechanism of the problem and then the mechanism of the solution. The mechanism of the problem is the explanation of why the problem exists and persists. It's like the hidden cause of why people are stuck or they're failing, they can't move forward. And it shows them that their problem isn't their fault, or at least partially isn't their fault, and that there's an underlying reason why they haven't succeeded. It basically presents a knowledge gap. In this case, after talking with Tom and understanding his product, we position the mechanism of the problem like this. You're not making the money you want as a creator because you're following a broken approach where you've been told that you need to niche down, work super hard on your content, spend hours creating a good video, stay in your lane, and then monetize somehow when you finally built a decent audience. But this creates an unsustainable cycle where you burn out creating content that feels like an obligation for an audience that doesn't even connect with you. Monetization becomes a nightmare and everything feels like hard work and you stay stuck. And then the mechanism of the solution is your special way of solving the problem. The how that makes your solution work when everything else has failed. It's basically your secret sauce, your proprietary solution, your breakthrough method. In this case, we positioned it as the sustainable personal brand method. Instead of niching down, you start creating content that is authentic to you. You systematize content creation to make it easy and sustainable long-term, and you monetize from day one with all the tools we're giving you. And this means you create a business that is fun to run and you differentiate yourself from everyone else, which means you make a lot of money. So the formula basically works like this. Here's why you have the problem. This is the mechanism of the problem. Here's my special way of fixing it and why it works. This is the mechanism of the solution. And that's why my solution works when everything else has failed. Once you have your mechanism, you can now extract your sales argument and build the structure of the VSL. When you build the argument and the structure first, you now know what you're doing, so you're not just writing random stuff, you have a direction. My argument in this VSL is the traditional way of building a personal brand is completely broken. Instead of giving you freedom, it traps you into a niche you'll outgrow, forces you to create content that burns you out, and builds an audience that doesn't truly care about you, all without giving you a clear system to actually make money. Since that old approach has failed you, you need something completely different. This is exactly what happened to me, talking about Tom. After struggling for years and nearly quitting, I discovered a method that works because it aligns with how real human connections and buying decisions actually happen in real life. Here's the truth. When you create content as your authentic self instead of just a niche expert, people connect with you on a deeper level. When people connect with you deeply, they naturally want to buy from you. When you make content creation sustainable instead of killing yourself for every piece of content, you can do it for years, guaranteeing your success. When you have a clear monetization strategy from the beginning, you build a real business and not just a fun project. This isn't just theory. It's exactly how I went from broke with 60K followers to making 6 figures monthly with an audience that actually resonates with me. I've systematized the whole process and I'm giving it all to you. And now that we have all of this, we can start thinking about the structure, how we're going to position everything. You start visualizing the journey of the customer. It's like sketching your VSL before you start writing it. And trust me, if you do this, it's going to speed up your process and the final result is going to be much better. So obviously we'll have an opening. From the beginning, I thought about this opening where you get all this news about the creator economy and people talking about how big the creator economy is and how much money you can make. So that way we're starting on a high note and we're reminding everyone about the opportunity. I want to talk about Tom's story, obviously, because this is a 2K product directly on the sales page. People, they don't jump on a call with Tom to buy it. They just buy it. So we need to create this whole journey, right? So people need to understand who Tom is and to trust him, and there's no better way to create trust than to present your journey from A to B. And I wanted to connect the journey to the solution and the mechanism. I want to talk about and throw Brock said the old way of building a personal brand and show people all the problems that this approach creates. There we have a part explaining the mechanism of the solution. I have a close. I wanted to do a triple or double close and do more convincing at the end. I'm building this emotion. I'm thinking about how I want everything to be, how I want everything to flow. So that way I can extract my ideas and put it into the actual VSL. And when I have the rough script, that's when I finally start writing. So let's analyze the script. I don't want to go sentence by sentence. I just want to like show you the ideas and the strategy behind what I'm doing, because I mean, you can just go watch the VSL, so that doesn't make any sense for me to just go sentence by sentence. But yeah, let me show you the strategy and what works so well with Tom's audience. As I told you at the beginning, I wanted to do an introduction where we show them news about the creator economy, showing them the big opportunity, basically reminding them why they even started this whole creator thing in the first place. And as you can see, the opening goes in the same direction, right? Becoming a creator has promised you the opportunity of a lifetime, $250 billion industry, right? We're showing them the opportunity. And then in this section, what I'm doing is very, very important. I do this a lot in my VSLs. I'm getting them to compare themselves with all these influencers making 10, 30, 50K, even $100,000 every single month, right? Because I mean, chances are, a lot of the people that are watching this VSL, they're in one of those levels, right? But they want to go to the next level. So when they compare themselves, that basically puts them into a problem state. And putting people into a problem state and making them realize the problem that they have is the first step when you're trying to sell something to someone. And here we're showing them that, this is possible for anyone. Social design experts, traveling cyclists, music producer. So they can be like, okay, if it worked for them, then it can work for me as well. And this is very important as well. And a lot of them don't even have a huge following. They just know something you don't. We're breaking all this limitation and objections because some people can think, well, yeah, of course they're making money because they have this big audience. But then we're breaking this here because we're telling them, it's not that they have a big audience, because we have people that don't even have a big audience. They just know something you don't. And then we're showing them how they started in this whole game in the first place, right? They see some webinar or they start reading a newsletter, see some creator, and that's how they started, right? And then we're showing them the difference between what the market promised them, like what is all this creators promised them, and then the reality of becoming and being a creator, right? Like stuff like algorithms, monetizing audiences, niches, coming up with hooks, retention, engagement, growth hacks, and also we're starting to present the sales argument. So Tom, for example, is against this whole thing of niching down, right? So we're going to put that in here. And then we start with Tom's story. This is going to be basically Tom's hero journey, how he went from A to be. We're going to show them how Tom went through the same things that they're encountering right now in their journey and how he found the solution. We're showing them his story, all the losses. What I'm doing is I'm creating an emotional connection between Tom and the people who are watching. So everything failed, nothing is working, and then boom, the epiphany happens. So we're gonna see that a lot in copy, VSL, sales pages. This is part of the hero's journey, by the way. The epiphany happens, right? Something happens, a discovery, an experience. The hero dives into this experience, into this story, into this discovery. And when he comes out of it, he finds this diamond, okay? He finds this method that is working a little bit, but not entirely, because we want to show people how he kept working on the strategy. Tom had to do a lot of stuff, he had to work on this method. So in this case, we use the whole, like contrarian vibe, because Tom is kind of a contrarian. He goes against many things that the market tells you about personal branding. That is very powerful. So I use that to our advantage because all the things that I'm writing about, they're true. I'm just, choosing how to present it in a way that is persuasive, because truth is going to resonate with people on a deep level. You just have to find a way to present it in a way where, it's going to hit. So we're showing them how he dished the common advice, what the market tells you, and he decided to do his own thing. And by doing his own thing, that's how he finds the mechanism. He finds the mechanism, he starts testing it, and boom, it starts working. My engagement exploded, my follower numbers skyrocketed, and my DMs got flooded with new messages every single day. So and now he keeps working on it because I still had no idea how to monetize my audience the right way. And now he shows you how he kept improving this thing. The hero doesn't just find something, he just takes it and he runs with it. He always gives it his own touch. And bam, it starts working. In no time, I had my first 10K month, then in a few months, 50K. My followers kept growing, eventually reaching 200K, a more amount count, and then my first 100K month. Then people started asking how he was doing it. Because I was convinced this method works for everybody, I decided to test it and start teaching the sustainable personal brand method to a couple of them. Now we're showing them how he taught it to other people and how other people had success with the same method. Now we're showing them the testimonials. This guy reached this numbers. Oh, he did this and this. After more and more successful student stories, I realized I wanted to help as many people who are in similar situations to where I used to be not long ago. And, that's how he created the product. So I decided to teach my sustainable personal brand method to help you build an audience, monetize, and scale in a live cohort that I call Time to Build. That's where we finally introduce the product. And if you do this properly, by the time you get to the product, they're so sold on the mechanism that they're like, okay, yeah, I just want to know details about the product, and that way I want to make an informed decision. So we're showing them what the product is all about, what we're going to get, right? How the experience is going to look like. And then we just do the CTA. So I decided to do the double close, click on the button below, blah, blah, blah. And then people who keep watching, then we just keep going. We do more convincing. We show them more arguments of, why they should take this decision. If you're on this page watching this video, chances are everything you tried didn't work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here watching this, right? So, and now we keep going. We give them more reasons for why they should buy. So we're basically showing them that, this is everything you need to build and monetize your personal brand. I did all the work for you, and I'm just giving you everything on a silver platter. So now the question is, are you going to do this on your own, or are you going to let me help you do this a lot faster, a lot more efficiently? So click the button and join, and then we keep going. I'm waiting for you on the inside. If you're on this page, you're here for a reason. We're looking for a way to grow and monetize your personal brand. You may feel a terrible imposter syndrome every time you create content. We're breaking all the objections, and we're showing them that, there's a solution for this. And then we hit them with, the truth is that the work keeps moving. New students will always come and crush it with this method. Every day, there are dozens of people out there who start monetizing brands. We want them to feel FOMO, obviously, And also, we want to position Tom as I don't really care. This works, so the choice is yours. This works. So the question is, will you be one of these people that the system has worked for? And that's why there is one thing that I can't do for you, and that is to take action. We're passing that ball, we're putting the ball in their court, and now the decision is theirs. Join today, and I'll see you on Inside. And that's how, ladies and gentlemen, you create a VSL that prints $1 million a year.